I am Justin Rankin. I am one of the founders and acting CMO at Hard Media Group. And one of our branches is Hard Service Solutions, which many of you in the service industry would know us as. And Hard Media Group is basically a social media and marketing solutions agency. Most of our business is focused in social media and what's being done, as well as some Google and website-based things that help our efforts there. So our focus is to drive a lot of leads, a lot of brand awareness, and make sure that you guys are rounding everything off in your social media and overall marketing concepts. We do this nationwide from Los Angeles to New York, as well as a couple of clients in Europe. So we get to see a really vast market share and kind of are able to adjust to some of our client needs based on that fact. So one of the big things like we are seeing and we are hearing across the country is that where is the money being lost in your customer acquisition? So the way we like to see this is that you most often have three buckets, right? The first one is cost per lead. The second one is cost per appointment set. And the third one is cost per acquisition. And what happens in these processes is we have gaps between all three of these. So finding transparency in where the money is going is so critical, right? So let's say that you guys are running a great cost per lead. You have a campaign running, you're running at like $50, $60 cost per raw lead. Well, all of a sudden your cost per appointment set is $500, $600. Something went wrong in that gap, right? Something happened to cause that. Or let's say we stay on point and we're at $250 per appointment set, which is a pretty good average. And then our acquisition cost goes sky high. So what we need is to find transparency in our system to see where are we losing this money? Where is this money funneling out of our business so that we're not going from A to B to C in a smooth transition? So as you guys set your goals for customer acquisition, you need to set a customer cost per lead, a cost per appointment set, and an acquisition cost. That way, when you see the gaps and you see these transition issues, you know how to address them so that we know exactly what's happening from transparency from customer contact to close. So we also want to stay agile in our budgeting, right? So does your company that you're working with, or do you internally have a fee that's being charged on a percentage of your budget spent? So there's a lot of agencies out there that are doing this. It's from the beginning of time, they're charging a percentage of your budget. The only problem with that is if they're working only in Google and they're charging a percentage, they may be unlikely to tell you that you would be better off spending that with Facebook right now. Or maybe you could even move into some more traditional marketing forms, or maybe you should put in a bigger investment into your organic or SEO right now. So when you're paying a percentage of your spend, you have to make sure that those companies have your best interests at heart and keep that transparency there. And what happens if it really could have been utilized somewhere else? That's the big question you have to be asking yourself, is where is your budget going and why? Speed to lead, you guys have probably heard this a million times, right? And right now we see it more than ever. So speed to lead is so important, but there are critical things that are happening in this at this point, right? How fast should you be moving your budget, right? I would have told you to hold a budget in place for 6 weeks, 8 weeks at a time. We're moving budget weekly at this point, and we're analyzing things at such rapid rates because what's going on in the platforms. We don't have the time to waste. How often should we change your creative? You used to be able to write a good piece of creative out 4 weeks at a time as well. We're also seeing creative change out weekly, or we're using some optimized pieces of creative that will sub in, right? So we can allow the algorithm to do what it needs to do. We're pushing 5 titles, 5 pieces of creative, 5 different offers, and we're allowing them to work together to help keep our speed to lead process there. And then what are your response times? If you're upset with your agency, or you're upset with your appointment setter, or you're upset with your guys closing, you really need to know what your response times are in each one of these facets. It kind of goes back to the 3 buckets that we talked about earlier, but speed to lead is everything, and the speed in which you're changing out your marketing opportunities as well. And here is the sad truth that we are all hiding from you. No, we're not hiding it, but reasonably, lead quality will never be the same as it was a couple years ago. And I would like to thank, Tim Cook and Apple for that problem. What they've done is they've protected privacy, and in the protection of that privacy, they have made it harder for companies like all that are sitting on this to use your information to reach your customer base, right? So what happens is lead quality goes down. It's not that big of a deal. We just have to comb through more leads. So we need to understand what those policy changes are and stay out in front of them. We need to know that even lead aggregates that you guys are buying these leads from are running into these issues as well. There's just no real clear cut path around the issue right now. And with that being said, you may want to look into longer funnels. We were into longer funnels, 3, 4 years ago, and that's kind of come out because we wanted to go to the speed of lead. If we can use forms in platform, great. It's faster. It's an easier way to reach the customer. But if you guys are a smaller in-home service agency, you may want to look at using long form funneling again, because you don't have the resources to be making 1,000 calls, right? Even if your cost per lead is really low. So we need to have transparency on that side of things and understand that lead quality is never going to be the same as of right now, at least nothing on the horizon. So we have to find a way to combat that.
Right. Thanks, Justin, for that quick overview. I think just from hearing Justin, you can see why he's an expert on this topic and why he's here today.